Work Permit System Part 3. Section 1. Contain questions with describing answers, considered as helpful to clear concept and attend a face-to-face interview. Section 1. (61) What LOTO is, and for what purpose it is used. LOTO is the procedure to prevent accidental release of energy into energized, depressurized or isolated equipment. LOTO mean lockout and tag out. Under GI 2.709, this safety procedure is used to lock out, put on padlock, on energy source control devices, switches, valves, and blinds etc., after de-energizing, depressurizing or isolating equipment and tagging out the lock, putting a tag with lock, so anyone reach to it can understand the reason of lock and can reach to owner of lock if required. 62. What is purpose of equipment opening/line break, release, permit? Equipment opening/line break, release, permit is used to ensure that workers properly plan and takes appropriate precautions during work activities that require the opening of equipment, vessels, or pipelines that is part of a closed system. (63) When equipment opening/line break, release, permit is used/required. This yellow color equipment opening/line break permit, SA Form 9873-1, release, old, SA Form 924-1, is used/required in activities that involve opening equipments, vessels, tanks or piping that contain previously, have the potential to contain, flammable, combustible, toxic or injuries material. For example, opening oil and gas line or system. Opening steam and condensate line or system. Opening lines or systems containing H2S. Opening line or system containing nitrogen, N2. Opening line or system containing hazardous material, e.g. caustic or sulfuric acid. (64) What are the safety precautions for opening line, which is a part of existing/closed system, containing hydrocarbon? What are safety requirements to use equipment opening/line break, release, permit, for a hydrocarbon line? Prior to opening/line break, all associated systems shall be isolated, LOTO. Remove all ignition sources within 23 meters 75 feet of the point of opening. Notify activities downwind of the point of opening. Designate a fire watch and/or standby man. Use appropriate PPEs for the potential hazard as per Chemical Hazard Bulletin, or MSDS. Use proper type of respiratory protection, specific for the hazard of material during the initial opening line/break. Until gas test shows normal results. When unbolting/disconnecting any flange, suppose/consider line as pressurized. Perform atmospheric test after the initial opening of line. Obtain a cold or hot permit to use tools and/or equipment involved, as applicable. Drainage or collection system must capable to hold the flow and/or pressure of potential liquid. Simply, when opening equipment or breaking a line, always beware of the chemical/substance involved in equipment or line and take precautions as per relevant CHB or MSDS. Check wind direction. Drainage. Source of ignition. 65. What is confined space? Any reasonably enough space to perform a job, with limited mean of access and egress, not designed for general occupancy, having few common and can have specific hazards. Any space which is generally not designed for humans to occupy, stay there, where entry, exit and movement are difficult and there are also few hazard in such spaces. (66) What are the hazards related with confined space? Common hazards. Those hazards present in almost all type of confined spaces, as enrichment or deficiency of oxygen, presence of toxic or flammable gases, limited access and egress. Illumin hazard, light can be too less or too bright. Slip, trip and fall hazard. Thermal hazard, extreme temperature. Noise hazard. Specific hazards. Natures of confined spaces are different from each other, so some contain different hazard than other, and nature of job also participates. These can be electric shock, electrocution, drowning hazard, as in water, caught between moving parts of machinery, falling objects, loose materials, presence of dangerous animal, cave-in, collapse of side, hazard in excavation. (67) What are the common requirements for confined space entry? With a valid work permit, confined space entry requirements are as but not limited to following. Confined space entry standby man, entry attendant. Gas test, prior to entry, even after any work break, and as requires by permit. Sufficient lighting and ventilation. Confined space entry plan including emergency/rescue procedure. All sources of energy should be isolated. Hot or cold permits as applicable, for job, inside confined space. 68. What is the number of hazards and controls, given in hazard analysis checklist? How many checkpoints are there in hazard analysis checklist, given a backside of permit form? 20. (69) What are the requirements of hot work/welding and cutting? Gas test. Remove all combustible and flammable material from work area. Covering sewers and drains, shall be covered up to 23 meters 75 feet. Box up, cover, work area, to protect others from sparks and the intense light, radiation, produced by welding/cutting. Fire watch and fire protection equipments, fire extinguisher. Fire watch shall stay on location for 30 minutes after the hot work finished. Use appropriate/additional PPEs for job. Follow any other instruction provided on permit. When removal of combustible material is not possible, the material shall be protected by using fireproof material and/or by wetting. Additional PPEs for welding/cutting work can include, but not limited to, welding helmet or welding glasses, respirator, face shield, ear protection, leather gloves and welder's apron, sleeves, arms and legs, and spats, boot covers. (70) What is hazard analysis? Identifying all possible hazards potentially created by an activity or process and take step to make job site safe. Process of uncovering and identifying hazard those exist in the workplace before they occur, and to eliminate or reduce them to acceptable level. Step-by-step analysis of a job, to identify hazards and recommend precautions. It is an assessment, review, of work activity conducted during joint site inspection, by issuer/designated representative and receiver. The individual steps of the job, equipment to be used and the work environment are discussed. Applicable protective measures are reviewed to make sure they are in place and address the hazards of the work activity. (71) What should be done while completing hazard analysis checklist? Concentration should be made towards observing the work area and surrounding. Take action to control any hazard that may be created because of the work activity. Discuss experience/lessons learned when performing the same work previously. Process should be repeated whenever an unexpected problem arises. 72. What if any other hazard arises, is there, other than those mentioned in hazard analysis checklist? Those shall be listed on the work permit. (73) What if there come no in checklist against a mentioned hazard and control? It initiates/rise a stop point. The issuer and receiver have to analyze the hazards and develop methods to control hazards and mention these control measures on work permit. 74. Release permit is replaced by which permit? Release of hazardous liquid or gas, SA Form 924-1, permit is replaced by equipment opening/line break, SA Form 9873-1, permit. 75. What are new permit forms and their numbers? See below table. (76) What minimum safe distance should be kept from overhead power line? Distance to keep from a power line depends on line voltage. See below table. Minimum distance to keep for unknown or over/above 250 kV is 25 feet. The distance to be kept mean, distance from edge of equipment or material to be handled in area. For example, in case of a scaffold erection, at any single time the edge of any scaffold tube being handled must not cross the minimum required distance boundary. If a crane is working near electric power lines, at any single time its boom, edge of load, sling or tag line and/or any attachment must not come closer than required distance. Thank you for viewing. Click subscribe for me to create new content.